Right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for episode 15. I almost said of American Gangster. That is not what the show is called. The show is called Cineministry. Thank you for joining us for episode 15 of Cineministry, podcast where three friends get to know each other better through the media they consume. Obviously, this week we're talking about American Gangster, thus my confusion. But before we talk about that, let's talk about what else we've been consuming this week.
Do I start?
Yes.
So last week was a small week for me. This week, with the extension that we got, which I will say I got a little too arrogant with, I watched two additional films, almost risking this film to do so. but the first one was I watched The Descent from 2005.
Oh yeah.
Which was actually it was the horror film. It was the one that it was one of the prompts. It was the prompt that was from last week, which was a film that I promised someone I'd watch and I haven't yet. Someone I work with, a couple people I work with, told me to watch it, and I just kept like, oh yeah, I will, and then just like never feeling it when you get home, whatever. But I watched it and I enjoyed it a lot.
God.
I really enjoyed it a lot. I think I had a lot of really cool lighting shots. I thought. They did a lot of really interesting because there's a lot of cave stuff, so it was dark. So they did like flares and glow sticks, and then they had the natural light, of course, from the cave. And I thought they had a lot of really interesting shots that I wasn't expecting for a horror film in general, which I thought I was pleasantly surprised with that. I think some of the stuff with the creatures was a little bit like inconsistent, but I get that that's also that it's for the tension, it's for the film. It's not that type of movie,
That first reveal where she lights the thing and then it pulls back and you see it right behind her. Fucking crazy. It's so good.
And then when she kills the one, it's Juno kills Beth accidentally it's like you snuck up on her. She's fighting for her life in a cave and you're like, boop, boop. Like you're getting an axe to the throat. You know what I mean? Like
I can understand. I want to be quiet so they don't hear me, but also like, I think they can see in the dark,
and that
so
hadn't been,
you're kind of fucked anyway.
Been established yet, and it was also very inconsistent. Like at one point, the creature's literally walking on top of one of their heads, like perched on their skull, like while they're breathing, while they're alive, But the other thing I liked about it, so there was like an affair that had happened in the movie, like kind of like or in the movie, but like it was kind of hinted at before the movie started. It was interesting. The movie started with a tragedy, a horror movie that starts with a separate kind of horrific incident, which is her family dying. But there's the hint, they just kind of hint at the whole time that Juno had an affair with the main character's husband, who's deceased. And I like that they never really explicitly say it, but but Beth basically reveals it with her fucking dying breath. She goes the entire affair, the year after his death, never says a word about it, openly discusses it with Juno a few times, kind of. And then, on her dying breath, rats Juno out to give no context, no explanation. Literally, just so you know, your husband was unfaithful with her. Goodbye, I'm out. And also, here's poor context to what happened between me and Juno. Yeah, she did this to me, but I'm not going to say that. Snuck up on her. Anyway, second movie I watched, which you guys which Chad would be maybe more on board with, which was right after that. I actually did back to back, did a double feature that night, which was The Iron Giant. And yes, it is as good as you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Just a great film.
I watched it 6 to 8 months ago. I almost said the other one. I'm like, I don't even want to.
I don't know if there was some moments I could say. I don't know if there was a line in it where I was like, this is perfectly encapsulates our time. When he's like, there's a point where the guy who owns the junkyard goes to the general and is like, he's friendly actually. He's only attacking in self-defense. And the general's like can't believe, like, what? Like, just can't believe, like, that concept. And it's like, that's where we are now. Exactly. Perfect. Yes, that nothing's changed. The movie takes place in 1957. Nothing has changed at all. We still don't understand that when you attack someone, they might defend themselves. But, I've seen every now and then on TikTok, people talk about like what would happen to Mansley. And I will tell you what would happen to Mansley. He'd get a promotion. And he would be running, and he'd run the next 20 years of American Blunders, and you'd never hear what happened, except maybe in like some conspiracy theory guy talking about like that was the guy who did such and such. Which reminds me, I don't know I get the name, and this kind of example of a broken clock being right twice a day. Some of the generals that have been fired by Trump and Hegseth, I believe one of them was basically directly involved. His decisions led to the death of Pat Tillman. So, every now and then you get a good one, I guess.
Listen, that's the positives. When you hire all scumbags, every firing is a win. It's just like that's how it goes.
You can, you gotta take the wins you can get. You gotta take what you can. It's the smallest win we can find.
Yes, it's like, somebody should have fired that guy, and you're like, well, didn't you hire him?
Yeah, promote him, in fact.
Yeah.
But anyway, so those are the two ones I watched. I definitely recommend. I mean, if you like horror films, if you're into horror, it's worth a watch. I don't think it's one where if you don't like horror films, it was a bad film. Like where it was like, oh my god, I can't do this film. Although then again, I also watch cave divers on YouTube, so I may be a little more.
I think, like Chad, I would not recommend unless you really wanted like Trial by Fire.
Well, you know why? I guess I wouldn't recommend it to Chad because I feel like it's just kind of a garden variety horror film. It's not like I'd recommend.
See, I think it's kind of like a modern classic in horror, where it's really got like a great reputation because it's very scary. It's like the characters are especially like for a cast full of women. The fact that they were as like compelling as they were for the time it came out. You got to remember that was when horror was just
Josh.
like, that was. I wrote a final essay on this.
It was a miracle these women managed to carry this film.
No, that was at a time when in horror women had two purposes: to take their tops off and die. That was like all any woman had to do in a horror movie. And then this one came out and it's like, hey, we're actually going to make them like good characters and give it like a good movie. It was like, wow, what a like crazy concept.
I will say though, there was a point in it where I was thinking about, because I was thinking about when the stuff with Beth was happening, or there's a few things. I was thinking about the John Mulaney joke about how they couldn't do Ocean's 8 with women because the three of the women would just break off to talk shit about the other five. And every now and then I got a little like when they were pairing off, I was like, I don't know. I was thinking it was like it was a great film though. It was. But yeah, I will see. I guess in terms of none of them were. There was no like. I guess just obligatory sex interest. I guess just like this woman's here for for her body. She's here because she's attractive. I mean there wasn't any of that character, and that's why I turned it off. And then. But no, I enjoyed it. I was told not to watch the second one, so I guess I will also follow those directions.
Okay, so news to me, there's a second one?
Yeah, apparently there was a second one in 2010 that came out. I was told
I've watched that first movie like 15 times, and I've never known there was a second one. It must be really bad.
Yeah, I would imagine. I bet you it's probably not as, because I feel like this one was kind of they just did a lot of interesting lighting stuff. I feel like they did a lot of experimental stuff that I would imagine that the second one was probably more of a cash grab vibe, if I had to guess. And that was just me. That's me judging it not off its cover. That's me judging it just
off its concept.
Yeah, just off of a concept. Sequels probably didn't need it.
Horror sequels, especially, are like. Really, like odds are they were just like, hey, these movies are cheap and that one made a bunch of money. Let's just run it back.
And maybe it's the same. Maybe they did set up the way I think they're about to set up. Because I was gonna say, because they left Juno behind and they don't show her dying. I think they could have done a perfect setup if they left her stuck in the cave, like trapped in something. But then again, that's also me doing my cave diving deep dive again about the guy in the putty cave. Do you ever watch those videos, Chad, about? On YouTube, there's a cave diver. He just crawls under rocks that you should not be under.
No, my mom was describing one to me one time, and it was about a guy who died trying to go someplace.
Everybody listening knows exactly which one you're talking about. It's like the most famous. Yep.
I don't remember any names or whatever. And while she was telling the story, I was like, oh, I never like thought of myself as having a phobia of anything. And I was like, oh, that right there, that's my phobia.
No, my phobia has always been like people. What my most irrational, I don't want to say irrational fear, but like in terms of like craziest fear, I guess, out there is being buried alive. So yeah, that's right in there. That's like, what about burying yourself alive? What about cramming yourself in the tightest little gap that you can't get out of and then dying? That's an interesting idea. But I watch them on YouTube. There's a channel on YouTube. It's kind of like watching it because it's like watching it somehow makes me feel better because I'm not there. And I'm not going. Like I just feel like
it's a shame we all have to do this one day.
Yeah, it's just watching, but not even that though. It's like the opposite. It's like knowing that I don't have to do this. I'm like, watch this guy do it. I'm like, oh man, I know one day I'm gonna eventually come on here and find that you stopped posting, and I know you didn't lose your passion. So, but hopefully that day doesn't come because I enjoy him. I enjoy his stuff, but yeah, like I said, sometimes I can watch it and it makes me feel better watching it. Like it's like exposure therapy, I guess. I'm not going to do it. And that's what ultimately makes me feel the best.
You can die for my enjoyment.
The stuff they do, when I watch them do this, I think about when I was a kid and, when I was a kid, my grandmother, she had like the way one of her beds was set up. It was like, it had like this small like gap square behind it that I could easily fit through. It was tight, but as a kid I could fit through, and it wasn't a big deal. Even if I got stuck, they would just pull it out, whatever. But not a big deal. When I think about doing that today, I mean, granted, I'm much bigger, so I wouldn't fit. But when I think about doing something like that, mad. Why aren't we born with a fully formed frontal lobe? You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, can I like? That's the next stage in evolution. Babies born with fully formed frontal lobes. Who don't do crazy shit like. But anyway, that's what I watched this week. What about you, Chad? It looks like Lori's trying to ruin another episode.
That's just common practice, but yeah. So I think last night, maybe 2 days ago, I was like, oh, what's going to be my media mashup for this week? And I had watched two different things, and I was like, I could talk about either one of these. One was a show that I referenced a couple weeks ago that I finished, and the other one was a YouTube channel I just discovered that I've been getting more into. And
do both. Well, I'll just run two today because I've got two I could talk about.
The problem is I don't think it would be very balanced. The one would be very quick.
I mean,
that's fine.
That's why I thought mine were quicker ones. I know they weren't, but
all right. I guess I'll start with the YouTube channel then. So for some reason on my YouTube recommended, I got this video called the 10 most disturbing books like in the world or whatever. And this guy kind of went through and he talked about the basic plot of these books, and and he kind of rated them like going into the book, like on this like the rating 1 through 10, what he thought was going to be the most scariest and what actually was. And the YouTube channel is called Men Carrying Thing.
Was the thumbnail a guy like sort of lying on the ground with books around his head?
I don't remember,
because I've gotten like a video like of that exact description in my recommended like once a day for the past month. It's in my watch later. I just haven't watched it.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. So this YouTube channel is very interesting to me. I'm a kind of sucker for like a video essay on movies, TV shows, anything like that. And he posts one maybe once every. Yes,
that's it.
Yep. Once every like 3-4 weeks, he posts a new video essay, I'd say. But every day he posts like a short of just kind of whatever he finds funny for the day. So that really, there's no like cohesion or anything like that. I haven't watched many of the shorts, but I've watched a couple of the video essays. And one of the things that I personally find attractive in a video essay YouTube channel is the person's voice. If you have a bad voice, I'm not watching anymore. I don't care how interested I am in this topic. Your voice sucks. I'm done. But
Dude, I'll go the opposite. I don't care how uninterested I am in this topic. If your voice is great, you've got me.
Kind of this. I'm kind of on the same lines, but he has a great voice, and he's very funny in like a sort of dry way, and he seems very knowledgeable about writing and.
I'm sorry. What was the title? What was the YouTube channel's name again? I'm sorry.
Men Carrying Thing.
Carrying Thing.
Yeah, I thought it was Things for a long time, but I think it's just Thing.
Dope.
I
do love a good video essay too.
Yeah. So that was highly recommended. And then the other one I had is a show that I kind of mentioned a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about Station 11, because I watched them pretty close to the same time. The show is the Pit. I kind of was talking to you guys a little bit about that. So you guys know the I guess gimmick isn't the right word, but the kind of
it's the hour by hour type thing, isn't it?
Yes. So
Hospital 24.
Yes. This show is incredible. And I'll say this: I watched the show wrong. So don't watch it how I watched it.
Face the screen. I made the mistake myself.
So, yeah. If you're gonna watch it, either watch it soon or watch it right before season 3 comes out, because you want to binge the show. You don't want to wait week to week.
Well, I imagine the way the pacing works. I'm sure they leave you on a fucking cliffhanger at every chance they get.
Yes, but they aren't like, oh, new case comes in that's interesting and then episode ends. That happens, once or twice out of the 30 episodes, but it's always something different that you're like,
is it like how many episodes are in a season? Is it like a full, is it like back to the 24 episodes, or is it like
it's 15 episodes a season?
Oh, okay.
So the first episode, you start with the main character walking into the hospital, and then the last shot is him walking out
of the season. What a fucking day!
Yeah. You say that, but if you, I don't know if you know anything about
funny
it.
Is I want to watch it because it's funny every time I hear the word the title The Pit. First thing I think about is Brad Pitt, and I go, no, that's not what this is talking about. And then I go, The Pit, like a pit crew. And I go, close, but no. Once again, I don't think that's what they're talking about. And then I think of some other NBC doctor kind of show that was recently out that was from kind of like The Office, but it's comedy. So I'm like, it's not that either. And then I go to, then we get back to then Josh says Hospital 24, and I go, oh yeah.
Yeah, but the show is insane. It's not like a one take sort of thing. There are cuts between cameras and stuff, but the camera will be following two doctors or a doctor and nurse having a conversation, and then two other characters will walk by, and then they'll transition to them seamlessly. It does that probably thousands of times in this show.
Oh, I bet you. Well, I bet you, especially with not just that it's hour by hour, but it's also a hospital. So I bet you, I bet you the pacing is, you probably doesn't even feel like you're watching as many episodes as you're watching.
Yeah, and they kind of make a point of this, that the 2 days that they show each season are not normal days. They are very extremely busy days. So there's no downtime at all. And it's like at the end of season 2, all of the characters are just can barely walk. They're so exhausted.
This has been a weekend shift for us.
Yeah, but yeah, I could talk, about like accuracy to how it is in a real ER and all that stuff. I usually don't care about that kind of thing. If the characters are good,
and you convinced me. I got a very low bar to clear.
The thing that really drives this is the characters. They're all extremely interesting. Some of the highlights for me are Santos. She that actor I can see being a superstar one day. She's very young, early 20s, but I hope she has a very long and successful career. There's McKay, who is so interesting. Like, usually, I don't call for like spin-offs or that kind of stuff, but there's so much to her character that could be explored, but this show just doesn't have time for it. But it's like you just get like a tiny little bit of what's going on in her head, and it's very interesting. Whitaker is kind of this, happy-go-lucky guy, but he's also awesome. Yeah, I would highly recommend this show. I could go on for, another 15-20 minutes on it. But
I'd have to have. I didn't realize it was on HBO too.
yeah.
For some reason, that it sounded like. I don't mean this in a negative way, but it sounded like more like it'd be like a network show.
No, so I think that's a strength of this show is like, usually in like a medical drama or whatever, it ends up being like a love, relationship kind of driven show, and the relationships in this show are very almost strictly not romantic. They are everything from boss to employee to even like a mother-son type relationship. That's like, even like most of the young doctors are students. This is a teaching.
It's not like Grey's Anatomy where
right
who is a major plot point.
Yeah, it's more like, hey, I'm a teacher and I have to teach you how to be a doctor, and I think that's a very.
I love a good medical show. I'm gonna have to check it out eventually. I know. I just
Yeah.
go back to
Same.
HBO. I love a good medical show, and there's quickly I'm stacking up reason. Like every time we name a show, I look it up and go, God damn it, HBO. God damn it, HBO. Okay, fine, I'll get HBO again.
All right, Josh, what do you got?
I've heard enough good things about The Pit to where I'm sooner or later I'm gonna have to check it out.
Is Station 11 on HBO without on Apple TV?
Yes, it is on HBO.
God damn it. Okay.
Which I did start. That's not what I'm going to talk about today.
I was hoping it was. Damn it.
No, I also, in a long week, got confident, and I jumped back into a rewatch I started a while ago of a show that is so laughably bad in the best ways, and it's just just an adrenaline shot of nostalgia. I'm rewatching Smallville. I'm halfway through season 2, and truthfully, the show kind of sucks, but it is awesome. It's so much fun. It is the most over the top. I've probably watched like 35 episodes because this was back when the CW every season was 25 episodes. It would end. You'd get 5 weeks off, and then it's like everybody back. We're filming like season 2. I was joking with your brother Baron about, because we were talking about it, and he's like, I asked, how many seasons do you think it is? He's like, had to be 10. I'm like, you're right, it was 10. He's like, CW didn't get out of bed for less than 6 seasons back then. You get a show, you're getting 7. So I'm on, like I said, I watched about 35 episodes.
I mean, my God.
Yeah. I'm on, like I said, I've watched about 35. I think the Kents have been framed for murder like 15 times at this point. I don't know why anybody believes that they killed somebody. Every single time they've been framed. Maybe if they're accused of murder, hear them out. Just listen a little bit. So the first season, every episode ends with Clark and the girl he's obsessed with, Lana, they have like a fight and it ends dramatic, and she's just like, I think maybe we just need to spend some more time apart. And it's all sad. And then the next episode starts and it's like it never happened. They're friends again, and it goes, and at the end of the season, it ends sad. Season 2 has a thing where 4 episodes in a row ended like this. Someone would be talking and someone would say something dramatic, and then it'd be like, well, we'll figure this out when we break into those records. And the character would go, end credits. Every single one, a dramatic turn to looking just off camera.
You can already see the promo that you would see all week leading up to it.
Yeah.
And for a few days after.
But that said, the show is awesome. Tom Welling is one of the best Superman. Michael Rosenbaum genuinely kind of acts his ass off. Like, he's so good. Like, it almost takes you out of it when you're watching, because he'll like give a little monologue and you're like, fuck, that was good.
I feel
and
like
the other
shows
characters
like
are
that,
like, what?
I feel like shows like that are kind of the network shows. Like, I feel like I watched a little bit of, I was watching Lucifer when it first came out, and I feel like there are some scenes in these shows or even movies like this where you're like, man, that was better acting than we deserve. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful scene. And then the next scene, you're like, that might be the cringiest shit I've ever heard in my life. It goes back and forth so seamlessly, you know. But
yeah, I was as a kid. I got a little more. I was just gonna say first, the love interest Lana was my first like real childhood crush that I was like, oh my god. And rewatching it, I'm like, good taste, young Josh. That was like, oh my god. Also, Tom Welling, what a man. Just like it is crazy that they're like, this guy's a freshman in high school. That's the most unbelievable part is that Tom Welling got bullied.
That jawline.
Freshman.
No one's
guy
fucking with that jawline.
Come on. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then like the first season, they string him up shirtless on like a scarecrow as like a hazing ritual, and it's like, Jesus, this freshman has an 8-pack, and he's 6'4", and it's
isn't
crazy.
Tom Welling in Lucifer too?
I think he is. I think I saw a picture of him older now, and I think he plays. Yeah, I think he is in it.
Yeah,
I think he plays God.
But then I'll touch on it briefly. The other thing I wanted to talk about, because I'm a little late, but I'm getting into it now. I've been listening to the new Noah Khan album, The Great Divide. Mm-hmm. Holy shit, man. It is so fucking good. Chad and I talked about a YouTube video, the Hive Mind video, where one of the guys said, at this point, like, if it's got an electric guitar, I don't want to hear it anymore. And it's Chad and I were 2 ships in the night. In high school, you listened to a bunch more stuff, and I was like, if it's not rock, I don't give a shit what it is. And now I listen to so little rock, and you are like primarily rock now. But I've been really into folk music the past like year and a half, and he's like probably the most popular current modern folk artist. And it's so good. Lyrically, he is on another level. Musically, it's great. I just interviews, he seems like the coolest dude. So I'm like, I'm all about it.
I love the song Six Seasons so much to the point where I'm worried I could never love one of his songs like that anymore. Like,
I can't recommend this album enough. It's so good. It's very rare. Even like my favorite bands will put out an album and I take it in sort of like piece by piece. Mm-hmm. Like I'll give it a listen through once or twice. And then it's like, all right, these are the 3 songs I'm going to play on repeat for a while. And then a few months later, it's like, okay, now I'm going to gravitate to these ones. This one, it's just been the album on repeat constantly because every song is so good.
That's nice. That was awesome. I'll check it out. Yeah. I do love some good folk music. Do we want to do the other segment, or do you want to go right into the? What are your thoughts?
I'm down to just go into it.
Go into it. Go into the film of the week.
The film of the week.
So, this was my prompt this time. We chose, it was American Gangster. This film I chose this film. It was the prompt was a non-comedy movie that I rewatched the most. I'm not sure if it's one I rewatched the most, but in a way, I feel it's up there. It's to me, I feel like it's, and I feel like I maybe understood a little better why this time because it was obviously the most recent time I've watched it. I feel like I haven't watched it it's been a handful of years, but to me, it's like I feel like my generation's Shawshank Redemption to me at least, kind of like a movie where it's like if it's on, I'm watching it. You know, it's a slow burn, a lot happens. There's exciting moments. I feel like it's a good, rise and fall story. I don't know. It came out at a very pivotal time for me when I was in 7th and 8th grade. In terms of movies, I was really getting into movies. We had just moved into my grandmother's house, and down the road, lived my aunt and uncle. And I didn't know until I moved in there that they actually were like kind of big movie buffs. In terms of we never really talked about movies, but they would always. It was almost like they would just always buy whatever new movie was out on the shelf at the store. Like they buy, there's 2 new movies, we'll buy 2 new movies. And they had this massive collection. And my grandmother had a big collection, but she ran a daycare, so they were kids movies, where these were like, real genuine adult movie, not adult movies, but like they were just, they were movies. And so I would just go over there and they'd be like, take whatever you want, just write it down a list that you borrowed it, and obviously bring it back one day when you want to get more. So I was just watching movies like crazy. So this came out and I was kind of already in like my, I guess developing my taste of what I liked. And I don't know, I just immediately fell in love with this movie. I think I do just like very long form story. I could have done a TV show on this one. The world feels so lived in, I feel like. I feel like
if we ever did Cineministry Bingo, the free space would be Brennan says this could have been a miniseries.
But most things could though, because you got to think once you get like if you're an hour and a half, like you're an hour and a half. But once you get over 2 hours, you're probably cutting more stuff than than in terms of like how long you are. If you're like a 2.5, 3 hour script, you probably were more like a 4 hour script that you cut. You know what I mean? Like just I don't know. I would have that's how I stand by it. I stand by it, and I would be proud to hear someone yell bingo,
Mystery Men, the miniseries.
No, but yes, also like not the same way. Like I don't think it should have been one, but at the same time, I could see it making a cool one.
Walk Hard could have been a fun miniseries.
I stand by that Dune should have been. They should have done what they did with Game of Thrones with Dune. But then again,
I think Dune is perfect the way it is.
I say this, only watching Dune one time. That's all I know about Dune. So no way authority on any of it. So I'm gonna run through. I don't have a lot of notes for this in terms of like actual, how I normally do it. We can just kind of talk about it after that, or you guys do your stuff. But I thought it was interesting in the beginning. You have him with Bumpy, and Bumpy kind of has his. I'm saying this. I just read the book too. Has his save the cat moment, where Bumpy is giving out turkeys to the poor or people just. I guess anyone who gets a turkey from back of a truck probably needs a turkey. So, he's doing that. Where Frank, Denzel Washington's character, not only is not doing it in at that moment, he actually when he's come on up. Has really no interest in it, I don't think that was necessarily like a character thing. I think it was more probably in hindsight his character trying his best to stay out of the public, the public eye. But I thought that was interesting because the other thing I thought was, does Frank end up actually going to? Because he talks about how much he reveres Bumpy, his mentor, and everything, but does he end up actually going against Bumpy? If you think about it. Because Bumpy talked his complaint before he died was when they go to that big department store about how cutting out the middleman and getting too big and all this thing, and he literally cuts out the middleman. Says it at one point.
It's like his first order of business.
Bumpy's dead.
He was just like, "What did he say before he died? Cut out the middleman. Something about cutting out the."
It's like you misheard him.
Yeah. I'll make you proud. I'll honor your legacy. I'll fulfill your dying wish
I'm
of
loud
cutting
and-
out the middleman.
Loud and clear. The middleman's killed my mentor. But I felt like I related to so much of what Bumpy was saying when Bumpy was like dying, he was like, don't bother. No one's in charge. I was like, that's how it feels like Bumpy. That's what it feels like Bumpy. You know? And then when he's like, you can't find the heart, just stick the knife. I was like, if I had a slogan for how I feel dealing with customer service, you know, they've gotten too big. Then Russell Crowe's character, and I love later. We'll touch on right after this note but you're too clean to steal the money, but you're not too clean to go and search without a warrant.
Yeah, I thought there were some inconsistencies there.
Because like they got a warrant, but they didn't have it yet. They asked for it. They put out for a warrant, so they hadn't received it yet. Now, I assume they get it, and they probably were gonna get it because you never see a movie where they don't get the warrant. But it was still just like, okay, so we don't steal money, but violating Fourth Amendment rights, no big deal. Not a big deal. But and I think I love the scene where at the courthouse, the last one, where his ex-wife just calls him out and is like, you didn't steal the money, not take the money because you're a good guy. You didn't take the money, so now you can hold it over and pretend like you're a good guy, you know? And when I watch this guy, it's like, you're a top upstanding police officer. You know, either you're both good at what you do because they've promoted you, and you're trustworthy comparatively. You know, and you're going to night school to get your law degree, and you pass the bar. That tells me, and you're busting one of the top heroin rings in, you know, the city, state, maybe the world, you know, from an unknown that you got to figure out from nothing. You must really not like your family, because you're clearly a very skilled, intelligent, thoughtful person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's clearly several positives traits here. You do not want anything to do with this kid, like, at all. You know,
I think that's why he flips at the end.
In the end, no, I do love the scene. When he's like, when he finds the money though, and he's like, did we ask for this? You broke into someone's car without a warrant. Like, yes. Like, yes, you asked for this. You know? Also, I don't understand why they couldn't have just, like, closed the trunk and been like, we didn't have a warrant. We'll pretend we didn't see anything, because legally we didn't see anything. But whatever. And the last note I have before I just started watching the movie because I was enjoying it was, you blot that shit, which makes sense when I started watching the movie because that's a great scene. That's alpaca. You blot that shit. But no, I think it's great. And I think the scene where his mother tries to calm him down and try to stop him from going in, which when he says we don't shoot cops, it's like, I think this cop is okay to shoot. I think this cop is more than established himself as okay to shoot. You know what I mean? He wasn't going after Russell Crowe. He was going after Brolin. You know what I mean? But I love it when she was like, it was just nice. I thought it was just a lovely scene, a lovely line when she was like, your brothers would have, if you were a lawyer, they would have been lawyers. If you were a soldier, they would have been soldiers. So you sell drugs, but
that might have been my favorite scene. I guess like the last scene with them having the one-on-one Crow and Denzel was great, but
how Ava was going to leave, how she knew that. I wish we could have gotten more from that character. Especially with how long the movie is, I feel like we could have given her 5 more fucking minutes to establish more than that she's Miss Puerto Rico, And that's the other thing. When Frank's like, he won't leave, and he's like, my house is here, my business is here, my wife is here. And I was like, hold on, your wife wants to leave, and she's literally Miss Puerto Rico. So let's not act like she's in Harlem is, where she is.
Yeah.
Like, she's clearly not interested in this place. But, no, I enjoy, the other thing I was kind of like, I seemed a little bit like, and maybe the scene maybe wasn't what I thought it was. I assumed the courthouse scenes towards the courtroom scenes towards the end was him on trial, and I was a little bit confused because I don't think it would work. I don't know why they do it. I don't think they do it in real life, and I don't understand why the movie would do it necessarily because I feel like it felt far fetched. And I could just be wrong. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I thought it was weird that he seemed like he was also a prosecutor.
Yeah.
Now I understand that he got his bar license. I understand like he got the license, but the fact that he would not just have the job to do it, but not even the conflict of interest, but like also that he's in this position to be able to do it. I guess now if they want, now maybe if they showed it, which they didn't, I don't think they showed it, but like maybe if it was like, oh well, he's just a lawyer on the team, I could maybe buy that a little bit. But I thought that was a little, I thought that was a little odd. But nothing, you know, like I said, I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I enjoy watching the come up. I enjoy watching the scene where, you know, we've all wanted to go in the middle of a sidewalk and shoot Tango in the head. You know?
That is so
over
true.
20%, you know? like
I will say there was a point where I was like, you know, the movie's starting, and I'm like, man, it's weird to put Denzel in this position where he's like not the top guy. Because it's like, who's going to be talking down to Denzel Washington? And then it was Idris, and I was like, that might be the one guy who I could reasonably buy, like actually being the guy for his limited time as the guy before.
Yeah, he did a
fan
great job.
for
Like
him.
you could, I feel like as great as Cuba Gooding Jr. was, I couldn't, and they didn't have his character really confront him too much. But like it was like, yeah, he couldn't have played. I feel like I couldn't have bought him as. I'm not saying he couldn't have done it. I'm sure he could have done it. But like I feel like immediately I wouldn't have bought him as much in that role as Idris.
Yeah. Shame we didn't get those two interacting more throughout this movie. Just because, again, those two powerhouses really going at it would have been.
Which reminds me, actually, another note that I didn't realize it till the end of the movie, and this is the first time I've noticed this in the movie. And I had to even Google it to double check to make sure, like this, I was right. Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington characters do not meet until he's arrested.
Yeah, so that's actually, I didn't really take any notes per se. I was going to try to just like, let me just like go off feelings instead of taking out little notes throughout. And I think it's weird because it's sort of like my biggest negative for this movie, but I also think it worked is for the first almost 2 hours of this movie, it felt like I was watching two movies.
Yeah.
And we were just cutting back and forth between, we have the movie about Denzel and his empire, and then we have the movie about Russell Crowe and his empire. Him trying to take down the empire, but you don't ever get like the mingling that you would in other movies. And I think it did make the end better of like the finally getting there. But yeah, there were a couple points where I was like, when are these gonna cross? Like, remember that book in middle school called like Flipped, where like you read two perspectives? It's like the same book, but like two different books, and you have to flip the book upside down. It's got a chick on the cover. It was whatever. It kind of felt like that, where I'm like, okay, I'm just watching these two stories, but like, give me the good stuff.
When they finally met up outside the church, I was like, wait a second, there's been no cat and mouse. There's been no like chase.
It's just been cat and cat.
There's been no scene of like, I know you're looking at me, I'm looking at you type thing. You know, like, which on one hand I like because I think it would have. I don't think it would have hurt the film. I think it would have improved the film in a way. But I guess the reason I like it is because it's unique, and I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing. But I do think it would have I think it would have made more sense a little bit if they met, you know, had the clash of.
Well, the fact that it's based on a true story, which is something I didn't know going into it, did sort of change and turn that into like, it sort of took away it being a negative, because while I know a lot of this is like fictionalized and exaggerated and dramatized, you can, if there are story elements you may not love, when it's based on a true story, you can just sort of chalk it up to like, hey, if that's what happened, man, like this, I don't know the story enough to say it didn't happen that way, so I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
See, that's actually when I was a kid how I used to just care about all movies. Anytime a movie was on, there was no like, oh, I didn't like that movie. I'm like, that was that movie. That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's just what they did.
What do you mean you wanted something else? That's what happened.
Well, there wasn't something else. They did that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really understand. Like, but no, I think I was watching something that kind of was talking about the contrast between the two characters of like how you have this gangster who sells drugs. I sell drugs to the community. Who's an upstanding family man for the most part, except for getting his family involved in that drug dealing. But like, he's taking he's faithful to his wife. He's taking his mother to church every Sunday. He has brought his family, at least, I guess. He's spreading their wealth, I guess, in terms of a positive, I guess. But whereas the opposite in the cop in Russell Crowe's character, who's supposed to be the upstanding cop, but he's a piece of shit family man. And apparently is, I think, with a woman every time he's on screen, almost.
And listen, I'm just going to, you can't, Russell Crowe, not like an ugly dude. You can't look like Russell Crowe and fumble Carla Gugino. You can't, or however you pronounce her last name. You can't do it. You gotta find a way to make that work. That was the ultimate, dude, what are you doing? What are you throwing away? But wish she would have been a bigger presence, just because I think she's incredible
also,
all the time.
Why Lee? They kind of talk about it, but yeah, this might not be the best neighborhood, but your next option was Las Vegas.
In the 70s.
Do you know what a good situation looks like? I think you have a.
Well, he even says, she's like, we're going to Vegas, and he's like, what? With a kid?
He's like, they wouldn't even shoot this movie in Vegas because no one's looking into the crimes. They don't even, was this your guys' first time watching the movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
I always like when it's I feel like I enjoy it when I can find a movie you guys haven't seen yet, but then it's also like a pressure, and then ultimately a disappointment because you guys ultimately are like, wasn't it? Stop recommending these. What are your thoughts, Chad?
Yeah, it's funny. So I knew pretty much nothing about this movie heading into it. And it's funny that you guys were like, I'm going to do less notes this time. And me famously never do any notes. Actually wrote some. And they're not really big, things. They're just more things I found funny while watching this. The first note I have is you think Idris Elba would learn not to wear a red hat. You might not get that reference, but that's a reference to The Wire. Kind of mild spoilers. It's not anything earth shattering, but the crime group, the Barksdales, part of why they're so hard to catch at the beginning is nobody knows who any of them are. They're just guys who live in this area. So the cops are like, how can we even track these guys if we don't know what they look like? So they get an informant who knows who these people are, and the cops are on a rooftop in a building, and the informant is this junkie who, is
Bubbles.
just trying, who's just trying to get a quick buck. That's what the people on the street think, to buy more drugs. So he's trying to sell these hats that he's probably, in their eyes, stolen. So he's going around. He's like, hey, he's trying to charm everybody. Here, try this hat. And any hat that he gives that's a red hat is somebody who's in the Barksdale crew. So So every red hat, a cop would take a picture of that guy. Then they would go back, look through all the pictures, and he'd be like, okay, this is Stringer Bell, this is Bodie, this is Poot. Like that's how they get pictures of everybody. And so Idris Elba, when he comes into the diner the first time and talks to Denzel Washington, he's wearing a red hat. And I was like, well, that's not good for him.
Busted already.
Yep.
Maybe that was that could have been a nod depending on when the.
Yeah, so The Wire was before this, so it might have been. That'd be cool. Then the second thing
you were like, well, The Wire was before this. I was like, Chad, this is in the 70s.
I literally was like, that's why legitimately that's why I paused. I was like, wait a minute.
Movies don't have to be filmed at the time they're set in. Turns out it's a little later than that.
Usually makes it easier.
So like I said, I knew nothing about this movie going in, so I was not expecting a Vietnam trip. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I knew a brand new
They didn't
place.
play Fortunate Son.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
No, so it couldn't have been Vietnam.
Yeah, I don't think they were in Thailand.
Well, then he goes into the jungle into Vietnam to talk to whoever.
Mm-hmm.
Then the last thing, this is a note more towards the end of the movie, was this country really went to shit when we stopped wearing suits, kissing each other on the cheek, and wearing awesome hats. And we need to go back to then. As far as that goes, everything else can change, but that needs to come back. And
I'm going to send a picture on the Facebook group chat, and Josh, you can add this into the edit.
Send it in the right chat so I can do it. Last time you sent it in the fantasy chat, and before
we'll get it down, it'll get there. But I found this picture when he's introducing his soon-to-be wife or future wife to his mother. They're looking at pictures. And I thought, what an odd picture to have of Bumpy. You know, what a weird picture just to take as a person and to have of someone else. Like everything about it felt like certainly a movie decision. Like we should get a photo of him, because this doesn't seem like a photo of someone actually take and keep of their mentor.
The lighting is nuts.
It's so close though. Where's the camera? Who's taking?
They're just
picture?
like, hey,
What's
man,
happening?
we're doing a noir shoot. If you want a couple headshots taken,
Like if someone's like. I want to know. I want the scene of this photo being taken. That's what I want. But I tell you, I wish I could have gotten a little bit more. And they did touch on it a little bit. I feel like I could have gotten a whole movie just on how they got the fucking stuff out of Vietnam. You know, just watching get the drugs out of Vietnam. There was, like I said, there was just so much happens, I feel like, in this film. And I feel like there's so many times where it's like, when we get to this type of length in a film, where it's like so much is happening, they're trying to cram so much in that you can tell that they're really taking a lot out. And I don't feel like I get that from this film. Like it's missing a lot. And every time I watch it, I feel like I'm getting more than I actually missed while watching it. You know, I feel like it's for as much as you would think it would jump, for as much as the story spans and the detail they go in, it also doesn't feel like they're cutting anything out that you really would like there to be in there or need to be in there. It feels like I don't know. I feel like they just do a really good job with the time, I guess, is the way of putting it, you know? And also just, you know, I forgot I think it was a TikTok I was watching where they were trying to say, they brought up an interesting thing, which is they said they think that who do you think has the best career post this movie?
Post that movie, it might be Brolin.
That's what everyone was saying. It was actually, they think it was Brolin because, you know, really after that, I think it was not long after that, he probably would have done No Country. Because this was 07.
No Country, Dune, The Avengers, Weapons, Heller. Was he in? No, he wasn't in Hell or High Water. That's Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine.
But he was
He's been in a bunch.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I would have loved to see his character get a little comeuppance, but you know.
Yeah, so the last note I had, I was waiting for him to be brought up, was I thought that Josh Brolin was a bit one note, but it was a great note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Yeah, I mean, with a mustache
I'm a
like that, you don't get a
shitbag
lot of
cop,
range.
and I'm gonna be a shitbag cop the whole time. It's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, the mustache gives you very limited range. You know, that it was a beautiful stash by the way, also. But I had to actually rewind that one. I love the scene because when he's like when they catch Frank with the drugs though, and he's like maybe I could arrest you. He's like, maybe you want your house blown up next time.
And then I think his next line is, "I really like that car," and he
Yeah,
goes, "I know." And that was like where they let him go, just
I
like
think
that
they had
subtle,
like,
"Hey, fuck you, man."
I feel like in the way, now obviously, you know, like I feel like in the way, like I feel like Josh Brolin and Denzel Washington's characters, they had the cat and mouse that we maybe should have gotten from Russell Crowe's character in him. You know, maybe not the same type of tone because obviously one's playing a crooked cop and whatnot, but like the same, like, or maybe just a scene. But
I think it's more interesting having, like, from the Russell Crowe perspective, watching the cat and mouse between those two. Because there are times where he sees that, and it's like, oh, like, you know, that's why to him it actually kind of parallels Spotlight a little bit, where it's like, no, we can go higher than local stuff.
And we got to see him discover it, I guess, on his own.
Yeah.
And him sort of spitting that from like, oh, if I go for that guy, I can then not only get this corrupt cop who has been a pain in the ass for me the entire time, but he's like, we can get so many of them.
When they said they arrested 3/4 of the drug enforcement, like, what are we doing? What is it? How do you still do drug enforcement after that? How do you not just be like, we fucked up?
Question about that though. Do you think the quarter that wasn't arrested, do you think they were just honest, or do you think the rest of them just didn't like him and didn't want to include him in their little racketeering business?
They just were losers.
They were like those guys in the office where people are like, when new people get hired, they're like, hey, you seem cool. We don't talk to them about this. Don't tell them. They fuck them.
Or they're just so good they didn't get caught.
That's realistically, that's probably it.
Yeah. No, I
maybe we need to do that again.
Not maybe.
Yeah, no, that was the biggest thing at the end when I was like, when I saw that when they said that at the end, I was like, this can't be the part that was. This must be the part that they fudged. When they took liberties. Where they said they actually made arrests. You know.
I know what's crazy. They, at the end of the movie, they have the little scene where Denzel walks out and is just sort of looking around, and they have him all aged up, and he looks older than he does right now. And it's like his aging is insane.
Yeah, no, for real. I'm trying to think what other thoughts I had on the. You know what scene I've always kind of bummed me out a little bit. I feel like, or kind of like, I've always like when Russell Crowe's getting his team together, and they let him know like you can get the best of the best, and people who wouldn't take a nickel off the sidewalk, you know. And I'm like, awesome, sweet, you know. And then they get introduced, like the guy. He goes to hire the one guy, and he's like, you want me? You gotta get my 2 guys over here that are dancing with the ladies, you know. And he kind of gives them their backstory. And they're like, they're solid, you know. And then we meet them, and the first question is, they're like, you gave up $1 million, didn't you? And he's like, yeah, I did. Anyone got a problem with that? And they all raise their hand. I'm like, I thought these were the guys. What do you like?
I thought that was more than just messing.
I'm sure it was
or
a
like
little more of a
the joke
you know?
of like, I would have done it.
I think it's more like an I'm Spartacus moment, sort of.
I'm sure it's more of a joke, but at the same time, there's always a part of me that was always just like, guys, this is literally
not the time for jokes.
This was a chance you had. He just
this is the job interview, and you're blowing it on a cheap laugh.
Yeah, like, what do we do? You are blowing it, Tooth Decay. But
just again, though, we kind of mentioned it here and there. It can't be talked about enough. There are few people who have that true movie star ability like Denzel has.
Yeah.
He just every time he goes, my man, I'm like, what more could I want out of this movie? Yeah, you got me. I'll sell or buy heroin for you. I don't know. Which one do you want me to do? I'll buy it from you and then sell it and give you the money again. I don't know. He is so just the way he like again, because it's like I said with Idris, he commands like his presence is just untouchable.
And he does a great job of both falling into the role, but also maintaining that like that's Denzel, but not like in a way that ruins the character that he's playing or takes you out of it in any way. You're just like I could, he could do this. Yeah, this might be. He might moonlight as this.
But he can also like flip the intimidation to sincerity, like in a really nice way where you buy both. It's not like he's just pretending to be too like calm. Like when he's calm and like not necessarily in this movie, but you know, like when he's trying to be like a calm or like a loving person, it's like you believe it. And then when he's like, I'll fucking shoot Idris Elba on the street, you're like, he would do that.
Yeah,
I think he might do that.
When he literally goes from like where he's like literally smacks the cup across the table to then being like, my man. Literally, like 3 lines later.
Also, though, that scene with Idris where he kills him was fucking sick, dude. Just what are you gonna shoot me in broad daylight? Bang!
In front of just like, and you know, the brothers are there. They got the sliding diner window. They're hanging out of it. You know, it's just a packed street. You know,
I love when the people on the street because like 30% scatter. 30% just sort of slowly walk away like, I got to get out of here now. And 30% are just sort of like,
I came here for apples, and I'm getting my apples.
I'm in line. I'm not going to restart my spot in line by running away from the murder.
Nope, waited too long to get here. Give me the apples in the back. The ones underneath without the blood on them.
A quick story. So I was at a wedding for my brother, and his grandmother-in-law was telling a story to my dad and a couple other people, and she was saying when she was a kid in Chicago, she kind of like she was like 13, and she did like odd jobs for the guy who lived across the street just whenever they needed something. And the main thing was her and her brother would park cars when they had like big parties, which is crazy that a 13-year-old was doing that. But she's like, yeah, we'd park cars and they'd give us like $0.25 per car. And she was like, back then that was crazy.
It's like $1 million.
Like, do you know who the neighbor was? And we were all like, how the fuck would we know who your neighbor was? And she's
Al Capone?
Like, it was Al Capone. And she was just like, that's really like these gangsters were, when he says like, I've got the city on my side. She's like, that's how it is. Like they're the most loved people in the city because they take care of everyone, because you have to maintain that sort of criminal network. You've got to have like people on your side. So when he's talking about it, it's just like, yeah, man, when you have like the mafia, or I mean, the mafia might not be the best example because they were a little more harsh, but you know, like that's it really the way the city sort, and you see like the people who weren't leaving, they were just sort of like, hey man, they're not going to do anything to me. Like he must have done something shitty. I don't know what to tell you.
He probably deserved it.
He didn't shoot me.
Yeah.
No, I've always loved that that scene, and it like no, it's so. It's just what I've always wanted to see though is the next 30 minutes where he finishes his meal while they clean up the body, like, and you know, like I you know, is no one. It's just I don't know, he just fell. You know?
Him after he shoots him, taking the 20% out of his wallet and putting it in the jar was just like beautifully done.
20% tango, 20%. You know, no, it's I love that scene, the alpaca scene, the you know, like I said, I think the I think it's very interesting what they do show of the get the drugs in. Like I wonder if they were doing I'm assuming they were doing the coffins the whole time. That's how they get them in. That's at least how I assumed it. But I just like, what I also was kind of like, is there anything you can do to not get a warrant approved? Like, you get a warrant approved to an incoming military plane from Vietnam, like like the last plane home, basically, is the way we might as well describe it. In terms of the movie's point of view, the last plane home from Vietnam, you've gotten a warrant to search that plane, which just feels crazy already. I'm not saying it shouldn't be a thing, but at the same time, it feels insane. But you got a warrant to search that plane to the point where you're going to even pull out the coffins and unzip the body bag. To be not proven wrong, but from everyone's point of view, proven wrong in the moment. To then get another warrant immediately after approved? Are you crazy? Also, I don't understand how I understand like how they found in that giant apartment building the room that was doing the heroin so quickly, and how the one guy who was running away could not escape. Like,
it felt like he was in that building for 20 minutes.
It's like,
can we talk though about how Russell Crowe, this guy is actively like running away? He didn't kill anybody. Chiwetel didn't kill anybody. But then Russell Crowe is taking full shotgun blasts at a fleeing suspect. I'm like, yikes, Russ. That's not a good look. Too.
I mean, no, it's honestly, I always think it's crazy. Not to say this is kind of off topic now. I always think it's crazy when I see police chases, because it's like, you shouldn't be chasing them. Yeah. You have the license plate. Go find them where they park. Go to their home. Like, it's
also,
go find
brother,
them now.
Turn around. There are bigger things to worry about than that one guy running away. You jumped over a table covered in heroin. First off, wash your hands. Second off, go deal with that.
Yeah.
Don't wash your hands.
How are you not at least a little bit high? How are you not
free heroin?
That's true. It's not every day you get free heroin. Or it might be. I don't know anything. I don't know much about heroin.
Maybe you do get it. Actually, it could have been part of their monthly salary.
Maybe the heroin was in the turkeys they were giving away at the beginning. Maybe it's all part of a larger scheme.
Yeah,
I could see
it. I will say kind of more negatives. I thought, at least coming from my perspective, I usually don't think like, oh, this movie's too long. Like I don't.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I couldn't take the heartbreak. I couldn't take the heartbreak of what he was about to say.
Yeah, the internet really did you a favor.
I knew where that was going.
Well, since he appears to be fully frozen, I'll jump in and say,
I'll finish it for him.
I did kind of feel
it was not long enough.
Well, see, I did kind of feel like there was a point where I'm like, okay, we're dragging a little bit, and then I thought the ending was so good that it like more than made up for it. The whole like. From the second the court case started to the end, I was like, I am so invested in the rest of this. Like I think because like the whole movie was good. Spoilers, not to break the trend. I like this one a lot. I did think it was like, it did reach that point where I was a little like, okay, let's wrap this up, guys. And then that whole ending was outstanding.
The only part of me that feels that, I feel like, is I can't really, I feel like the only reason I'll disagree is because the part of me that felt that way was kind of the part of me that was just like, just doesn't have an attention span at the moment.
See, I don't mind movies like that length though. And I think it was, like you said, the fact that there wasn't really much of a cat and mouse game between the two. So like, it wasn't like that growing anticipation of like any minute now he's going to get him. It was just like wanting to see what's happening with those characters. And then like when they finally cross, it was totally worth the payoff of like the whole lead in there.
As much as I don't think, I think if you were to increase the pace scene a little bit of the movie, I don't think it would hurt the movie. But at the same time, I feel like the kind of the slow burn that it does, it has moments of excitement, but like it feels like a movie where it's like, I can kind of jump in at any moment. And I feel like I'm just like, kind of just like I don't know, like it just feels very lived in, I guess is my best way to describe it.
And I do think after like completing the movie, I don't think it's too long. Like I said, there was a point where I felt that way, but at the end, I'm like, no, everything was needed to get to where we got. And I think on a rewatch, I would not feel that it was too long at all.
If it was a 3-hour movie, I probably would have been like, yeah, I understand why they added, why they did that, but it could have been shorter. But to see that it was 2.5 hour movie, and because I feel like if that movie was made today at the same length, it would have felt like it cut more.
Yeah.
But Chad, you were saying about
you loved the length and thought it was.
Chad, I want you to know, when you go back and watch this episode, you're going to bring up a great point probably right now about the length of the movie. We've undercut it completely.
Yeah. No, yeah, anything you say is going to carry no weight to the viewer because we've already provided the perfect counterpoint. So
we had to jump on that.
So you were my internet just died. Like,
damn.
So like
I didn't like that take.
I was like 5 words into it, and then like I just got circles for all of our screens, and I was just like no internet. I'm like, oh well, that's good. Then it just came back. So hopefully that doesn't happen again.
You're saying that,
yeah, it needs to not happen again. You're giving the prompt for next week.
I know. I might just have to text it to you guys. Yeah. So like I said, I'm not usually the kind of person who like, oh, that movie was too long. Like it's like, to me, it's like, whatever the length was is what, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there were some things I thought that went on a little too long. Like there's it's fairly early. There's a group of people walking upstairs, and not only does that scene show them walking upstairs, but part of it's in slow motion. And I'm like, is this Zack Snyder? Like, who's directing this? And I didn't know who directed this until the credits rolled. And like there's a car like chase scene at some point, and I'm like, oh, this is terribly filmed. I'm like, what amateur did this? And it's like, oh, Ridley Scott. And I'm like, wow, I was wrong. But
so I want to really quick to something you said, Chad. There was a point in this movie where, I'm like, people just started talking really slow. And there was a line delivery where I don't remember what the sentence was, but he was just kind of talking like this. And I was like, okay, getting a little dramatic here. And then I realized I had accidentally dropped it to 0.75 speed. And I was like, what an insane choice to have everybody switch their delivery and everything halfway through this scene. And then when the next scene started with it, I was like, wow, they're really just going to like really shift. And then I'm like, no, I'm an idiot is the problem with this. And I fixed it. And it was, but yeah, we were just saying,
keep going. Oh, you were. Mine sounds good.
I was just going to summarize. We were just saying, like, I thought that it dragged a little bit, but then the ending was so great that it sort of like felt worth the ride to get there. And I potentially on rewatch, I don't think I'll feel the length because I know where we're going now.
Yeah.
And Brennan said he didn't feel like it dragged that much, but he's also seen it multiple times and likes the flow of.
I've been watching it since I was in 7th grade, so it's hard for me to, I guess. My judgment is going to be a bit skewed. I'm just happy that it holds up every time I watch it, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
But,
all right, we got anything else for this one, or
ratings?
I mean, I don't really got any. Do we think it's okay to sell drugs in the community?
As long as you're nice to the community.
Does the community want drugs?
Oh, I guess one last note, because it's an actor who I don't think gets the credit he deserves basically ever. Chiwetel was great, as always. I am always happy to see him. We talked about him a little last week with the Backrooms coming up, but I just think he's great. And I enjoyed him in this a lot.
Agreed. I agree. For ratings, oh gosh, I haven't even thought about this one. I'll give it a. I'll go to 4.5. I'm between a 4 and a 4.5. I think just for how much I've enjoyed it, I think I agree with. I don't disagree with the points you guys are making. But I also at the same time I think I just I got to give it a 4.5. I think there are things that could be a little more upbeat. I think they could increase the pace a little more at times, but at the same time, it's one of those where it's like I guess for what it is, where it's like if I not that I flip through the channels anymore, but like if I were to just if I walked in this someone's house and this movie was on, I'd sit down wherever it was at and just have no problem enjoying it.
They'd be like, "Please leave my house." I don't know how you got in here, but I mean,
Well,
please leave after the movie. Please, you can finish the movie, but then I need you to leave.
I'll say after the movie, just sign for the pizza and I'll be on my way.
I'll go ahead. I'm similarly between a 4 and a 4.5. I think I'm leaning to, I was like, I'm leaning towards 4, and then I'm like, why? And I can't give a reason, so I'll go 4.5. I
kind of felt the same way. I was like, you've been watching this one for 20 years. What are you gonna?
I don't think I loved it enough to give it a 5, but the 4.5 I can feel good about. I
definitely
really
feel like there
it.
are things that are missing from it in terms of I definitely think we could have gotten more from the wife or anything from the wife outside of she's an attractive person, and she's known for being attractive.
I guess I'll be the dissenting vote. I'll go 4. And it's mostly I wish that I think that they could have done a little bit more with Russell Crowe's character. I think that he could have been explored a little bit more. But Denzel, I know we said how awesome he is in this movie, but it didn't dawn on me, but I was just like, oh, he's at his best in the small moments when he's commanding a scene and he probably isn't even talking. He's just looking. And it's like, oh, he's in charge here and everybody knows it. And
it's like he brings so much I'm blanking on the word, but authority to the scene. And it's like he I don't know, he gives it so much credence, or brings it, it feels legitimized by him being there.
Yeah. All right. Well, Brennan, I hope you feel better now. I know, unfortunately, we were a little more down on your last one, but not that it was bad. It was good. But you made a joke about, I'm worried about the ratings. Yeah, this one was great.
I'm happy. I was waiting for Chad to be like, I'm gonna go give it a 3 or something. I was like, I'm glad we got all 4s, all 4, at least. I'm glad you guys liked it. I consider it almost a win when I can just pick a movie you guys haven't seen. I kind of consider that a win. We're all gonna have different tastes to a degree. Especially if I'm going off something I watched at such a young age. But when I can find a movie that's been out for a minute that you guys haven't seen, it feels like a little special. Alrighty, look at that. You do have taste in movies outside of
It's fun because it's like there are some movies where it's like when you've seen them, it's like, hey, we're gonna watch this movie again. When it's one, for me, like Flow, when you guys hadn't seen it, it's like, oh, I get to show them this movie, and that's exciting. Being like, oh no, I have agency here. It's not like I'm asking you to rewatch a movie you've already seen and know about. It is. It's more fun when it's neither person has seen it. And speaking of which, Chad, no pressure, but you better pick a movie we haven't seen. It is time for Chad to give us his prompts leading into the unheard of episode 16 next week.
A world record. So I have 3 prompts here, and there's a 4th one that I'm debating because it's a movie I watched for the first time on Monday, and I could watch it again, but I'm like, maybe it's a little too soon. So I'll see if I actually pick it. The first one is a powerhouse performance that not many people talk about. And the second one is a movie that would be ruined if they filmed it today. So to expand on that a little bit, like I'm saying, if it never existed when it came out and somebody had the idea today and tried to make it, it would be bad. But I think it's a good movie. And the last one is a movie that makes me the most jealous of another man.
So number 3 is no, I don't know. I thought I had a joke. I had a joke and then I watched it fly away from my brain as I got to the end of that sentence.
It's a trick one. They're all the drama again.
No.
I'm not, what was the first one again? It was
a powerhouse performance that not many people talk about.
That one. That's the one I'll choose.
Yeah, I'm with you. I immediately, Chad, you will lead off with like the best prompt I've ever heard every week. And it's like you're doing yourself a disservice because then you read the other ones and I'm like, hey, those are 2 more great prompts. That first one was crazy.
Yeah. This is going to be a surprise, I think.
Garfield.
No. This is, I guess some might consider this a horror movie that I'm bringing to the table. A movie I saw knowing nothing about and watched it in the theaters and was like, this is amazing. And I rarely see people talk about this.
What year? If you don't know offhand, never mind. I was going to try to guess. Go ahead.
It is 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Ooh, okay, I like.
You know what's crazy?
Okay,
I've seen the other 2, but I haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Nice, good choice. I haven't seen. I saw it in theaters when it came out because I saw the original in theaters also. I like what they did differently. I'm glad. That's a nice choice. I'm excited to rewatch that one. I haven't seen it since it was in theaters.
Yeah,
I really liked the first Cloverfield. It was pretty iconic, and then the second one, I watched. I mean, the third one, the Cloverfield Paradox. I watched the first hour of and was
There's
like,
a third one.
Yeah.
I watched the first hour of it and was like, what a load of dog shit. I can't believe I'm watching this. And then I was like, let me finish the movie. Second hour, banger. And bang. It was so good. The second half I loved so much that I was like, man, I'm so glad I was just like, no, we should probably finish it because it was worth it. Yeah, that's I don't know why I never saw the second one. I guess it just wasn't on the right streaming services for me for a while, and then I forgot about it. But yeah, I'm excited. That's cool.
Who
was the performance by? Is it
John Goodman?
John Goodman. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip the second one because I might reuse that one, but the third one I probably won't. I was having trouble coming up with the third one, but the movie that made me most jealous of another man is Edge of 17.
Which one's Edge of 17? Is Edge of 17?
Haley Steinfeld.
Which one's Edge of 17? I think I'm mixing up 17 again and Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of 17 is Haley Steinfeld and Woody Harrelson is the teacher.
Oh, that's a great movie. Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, it makes me jealous of Josh Allen, but
I was like, Woody Harrelson? I was like, what?
I was trying to think, like, what would Woody Harrelson do in that movie that would make you so
you want
jealous?
to be a teacher? Like, I mean, no, that's you know what I also love about that movie? There's a cover of Help, of the Beatles' Help by Howie something. It's on my
Howie Day?
Maybe.
They're old school. I've thought of them before. Speaking of Howie Day, though, this is totally not related. I was talking with Baron and Tango.
Yeah, Howie Day, Help.
Chat.
It's like a much slower version of Help from the Beatles.
You didn't have. I know exactly what it sounds like. I've never heard it before, but I know Howie Day. I could tell you exactly. I was telling Baron and Tango, I'm like, I think it'd be really funny if culturally we all got really into Hoobastank in 2026. Like if we just like really up their streaming and like they would be like, what the fuck is happening? Why do we have all these people?
It'd be like a GameStop moment, you know? Is there we can
no,
except actually good.
Never again.
And it would do something good for people. But and by people, I mean Hoobastank, who God knows they probably... Actually, I bet the reason is still pumping in numbers for them.
I'm picturing that scene from South Park where they visit the struggling artist, because you're illegally downloading stuff.
Yeah.
Sting had to get rid of one of his private planes.
Speaking of that episode, dude, Pearl Jam has got to be thriving right now with the Ticketmaster lawsuit ruling against Ticketmaster, and they've been fighting against them forever. It's just monopoly, and just like I don't know too much about it, but it's something against like all the fees they put on and the fact that they're just adding fees because you can't get tickets from anywhere else, so they can charge whatever the fuck they want. And the courts just ruled against them, and that's awesome. And I might start going to concerts again because
in the movie,
I missed it.
In the movie we just watched, the one mafia boss who's talking. I don't know if it's. I forget. I feel like he might. Maybe it's not. Maybe he's not supporting what he's saying. Maybe he's more. I think he might be more alluding to describing Frank. But when he's like talks about, he says something about like, no one likes monopolies. Apparently, nobody wants to compete or something. He says something like that, and it's like, you can't compete with a monopoly. That's the point of the monopoly. that's the problem. No, I'm excited to watch 10 Cloverfield Lane. Did you guys watch the first one?
Yeah.
No.
You ever seen the first one?
No.
You haven't?
I think it makes the second one better, but.
Oh no, I mean, I don't think they don't affect each other. I don't.
No, not at all.
All three are only like loosely
related. They're like completely like in terms of story, the way the film is made. They're very different films. There was one of my first found footages I watched, and I
think it's great.
It is, but at the same time, it's like it's cemented as like why one of the reasons I also don't like found footage films, because, and I understand it's the point of the footage, but it's just like I'm just like the whole time I feel like look at it, please, for the love of God, look at it, like
Right.
Like,
I think that's just, it's such a good way to like the way they build the suspense and then the reveal when you finally see it and it's like, oh shit. Also, just that trailer or the original with the first teaser where you just see the footage at the party and then the camera cuts out the window and the head of the Statue of Liberty is rolling down the street is
I think that because I saw both the first two in theaters, and I want to say first one obviously I saw because that trailer it was awesome. That, and I feel like I forget the trailer, but I remember just the hype around that time was like, these are going to be really two good movies, which was Cloverfield and I Am Legend.
Well, Cloverfield had also that weird like guerrilla marketing technique where they had like those weird websites where it was all like acting as if this was like real shit happening and everything, and like secret, you could decode stuff and get more information. And it was their like media team did an outstanding job at really selling it as like, this is an event movie that you're not going to want to miss. And I missed it because I was scared, but I watched it at home later and I really liked it.
Kind of like the Smile people did, except for I was like, I'm surprised none of them got attacked.
Also, I liked what they tried to do. The problem is they didn't have like a uniform. All right, everybody, this is the smile you do. So some people just kind of looked like, what's going on with that guy?
Yeah.
A very visual podcast.
Yeah. It's on YouTube too.
Yeah, well, 10 Cloverfield Lane, like, they didn't even like release that it was coming out to like what 4 or 5 weeks before.
Wasn't it a Super Bowl drop? During the Super Bowl they aired the first trailer?
Might have
maybe. It was like nobody knew that this was happening, and then it was like, oh, it's here. I think that was awesome, but
I just like from my memory of it, I just like the my memory. It feels like almost like a silent film, or at least it's not, or at least it's maybe not a lot of dialogue. It's very I don't know. I haven't watched it since it came out, but I remember. I think maybe they just build a lot of it. It's more about the tone, and the vibe, and the tension. But
I was close. It came out before 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, the movie. It came as like a exclusive surprise trailer attached to it. So the same thing as the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
For some people.
Yeah. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us. Before we talk about this movie too much in this episode, because I could keep
before
talking
we-
about Cloverfield,
Film
but
of
we'll
the
save that for.
All right. Well,
So
I've been Brennan.
I've been Josh.
And I've been Chad.
We'll see you for episode 16, 10 Cloverfield Lane.